The reason I was hired is to produce a productive football team, one that can challenge these other great teams in the National Football League and to win games. Sometimes change is good. I think it's going to be tremendous for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then on the other hand, I think it's going to be tremendous for the Kansas City Chiefs.
That was 2 days ago, his introductory press conference with the Kansas City Chiefs, new head coach after 14 years with the Philadelphia Eagles. First year with the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, and he joins us now on PFT Live. Coach, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mike. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you making time. And now that you're the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, the most immediate question, will there be a play in the new playbook called the 65 toss power trap?
You've been talking to Gruden, man. We've got some good stuff in there. We've got some good stuff in there.
Well, one thing that was obvious to me watching your press conference on Monday, Coach, you seem to be genuinely rejuvenated by this new opportunity in Kansas City. Talk about how this change has changed you and how you feel after 14 years in Philly, now getting started with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right. Well, hey, listen, Mike, I enjoyed every minute in Philadelphia. I mean, the fans were passionate, the Lurie's were tremendous, and it was a great organization. I had an opportunity to work with Joe Banner, who did a phenomenal job, and Howie Roseman, who did a phenomenal job. Tom Hecker, all these guys, you know, the people that you deal with there as a whole, players, coaches, it was a good bunch. This was an opportunity here to work for one of the great families in the National Football League. And so I've sat through all the owner coach meetings and all that down at the owner meetings, and I've looked around the rooms, and I understand what the Kansas City Chiefs are all about. I've been in it long enough to figure that out. So when Clark Hunt came calling, I listened, and it seemed like the right thing to do. And then as he presented his side, and I was able to talk to him about, you know, my side and what, you know, kind of my makeup and so on, and how I'd go about doing my business. It just seemed to click and work, and thus I decided to come here.
Hey, Coach, there was all sorts of speculation and reports last week linking you to other jobs, most notably the Arizona Cardinals. Was anyone else ever in this seriously, or was it all Chiefs from the get-go?
Well, listen, my wife's from Phoenix, and the Cardinals have a great organization, so they were interested. I was interested. There was, you know, I've got a place out in California close to San Diego, and there's some interest there, and so. But listen, when it was all, and they've got a great organization there, so there were decisions that had to be made. I would tell you. I just kind of came back to, you're lucky that, like I said, there are 3 or 4 families in this league that are just that you'd love to work for as you get old and gray, like I'm getting quickly. So this is one of the franchises, and I was lucky enough where they came calling, and lucky enough where they offered me a job.
What's the one thing that you'll carry from your 14 years of experience as a head coach with the Eagles that you think will help you the most as you start on your career with the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, yeah, you know, it's hard to pinpoint one thing, really. I mean, until you've walked in a head coach's shoes, you feel like you really know nothing. So I've had that opportunity to do it, and you go, doggone, all those years of experience as a coach, this is so different. This is it's a different deal as a head football coach in this league. And so every day from that point on that you're appointed the head coach, you learn, and it keeps your mind fresh, and every day is a new day, and is a pretty exciting thing. So there are only 32 of them in the whole world, man. So it's pretty exciting. So I would tell you the same thing. Those things, there are a bunch of things I learned there. I'm going to try to do a better job here with. I take full responsibility for the last couple of years there. It wasn't good enough. Absolutely wasn't good enough. Learned some great lessons. I'm going to bring those with me, and along with all the other 12 years that I was there. So I look at it. Listen, it was 14 great years. I take that. I take the experience of all 14 years, and I'm try to do a better job. We didn't get the Super Bowl ring, doggone it, Mike, and that's what we're all shooting for, and we didn't get it. And I'm going to try to do my best and for this organization to allow them to, all of us, to get a ring.
And the team that you're with now, at least based on last year's record, has the longest path to get to the top of the mountain. When you look at what the Chiefs have, when you look at what happened to the Chiefs in 2012, what's your assessment of why they finished 2-14?
Listen, things didn't work out, whether it was injury or whatever. It didn't work out for them. And specifically at specific positions, it didn't work out. And I would take you to the other side of that, and I'd just say, good coaches and good players. If you can combine those two things, you're going to win a lot of games. If you can eliminate distractions, if there's no pulling one way or the other, and this isn't saying that's what happened here. I'm saying in general in this league. If everybody's pulling in the same direction, front office, coaching staff, players, if they're pulling in the same direction, when those things get out of whack, normally good things don't happen. And so you take those two facets, everybody pulling in the same direction, you take the combination of good players and good coaches. I think those are all important for teams to win. And normally if they're not something in those areas right there, there's a problem.
You had a great comment the other day about looking for the next Len Dawson, the only quarterback that's led the Chiefs to a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl win. The obvious question in response to that, though, Coach, is how do you plan on going about finding that next Len Dawson in Kansas City?
Well, you better start by looking at the guys that are here. And you better start with how many coordinators look at skill level, and then how many coordinators have these guys had? How many different changes? That's a fragile position right there, man. I mean, you're talking about guys that you're asking, am I going to be a cardiologist or an orthopod? One of those deals, and all of a sudden you're going to change on them and make them overnight in 1 year go from being the cardiologist to the orthopod. That's a tough thing to do. So that's how it is when you have to learn new offenses and new ways. It's not easy. But you better analyze what's there, and then you always keep your eyes open for that position. You're always going to do that. So if you have a great player, then you're going to make sure you have a great backup. And so we're going to do that. We'll look at it in draft. We'll look at it in trade. We'll look at it in free agency. We'll keep our eyes open. But first, we're going to take a look at what we've got here, analyze that.
You've got a track record of getting the absolute most out of whatever quarterback you put on the field. You've done that consistently. What is it that you do with a quarterback that gets him to be the best he can be? What is it that's coachable that isn't something that's already part of that quarterback's makeup?
As a coach, we're here to teach, and to teach, you better kind of know your system. I've been lucky enough to have the Marty Morningwigs of the world, the Brad Chose. I mean, I've had some good quarterback coaches. As of late, Doug Peterson. And these are good football coaches. Pat Shermer, good football coaches that can teach. Most of all, teach. And then the players have been good players. It's just a matter of being able to pull it out of that player and try to find what makes him tick and evaluate him in the right way. Make sure that you find guys that can work into your system. And that have the aptitude and the ability, skill and ability, and can think on their feet, baby. You got to do it real quick. I mean, real quick. And so you got to be able to make accurate decisions in a very short period of time.
When do you anticipate making decisions about which coaches are going to be joining you as members of the staff in Kansas City? Doing
it right now. Right now. We've been interviewing general managers, and that process is still going on. And then I've made calls to coaches, and I'm starting to bring them in here now. We've got the first ones on campus right now, so I'm working through that process too.
Any names you want to announce? Nobody's really watching this, so you know.
Yeah.
You can,
that's what I want to do right here. You're the best, man.
Hey, you've got that first overall pick in the draft, and it doesn't seem like there are any quarterbacks out there that would be worthy of being taken first overall. Is that going to be the first thing you do when you evaluate the draft class? Is there a quarterback that would be worthy of that first selection?
Yeah, we'll look at that position. I mean, we're going to do that. We're going to look at all the positions, but we're going to look at that position. And you've got to go through and analyze it, and that's time right now. We're early in the process, so we've got to get in and do all the evaluation, and that's a long, tedious deal. But let's get it knocked out. A lot of the scouts and personnel guys have been doing that throughout the year, and then what they do is they bring the information in, and then the coaches they're part of the evaluation, and then you build yourself up to the draft after that, after having an opportunity to meet with these kids. So, but we'll see how it goes. Mike, the most important thing is that it's the right pick. So we get so caught up. You can't get caught up right now and saying you have to have a quarterback. You do that, and it's not the right guy. That's a problem. That's a real problem. That sets you back. So whoever you take at that spot, it better be the right guy. That's the most. It doesn't matter the position. It really doesn't matter. It's important he's a good football player.
One other area there's been a lot of discussion lately, and you played there this year. You're going back there next year, FedEx Field. You've been there every year since it's opened. A lot of criticism about the quality of the surface there. You were there in November. What's your assessment of the condition, the quality, the overall playing surface at FedEx Field?
Of the actual field itself?
Yeah, the actual turf itself.
Oh, Mike, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Does that mean it's not good?
Well, I can't tell you that it's not bad. Listen, those grounds guys, they bust their tail to make sure that it's right. We played there down this year. I thought in years past it was fine.
But isn't there a deeper issue that the NFL needs to be looking at now, Coach, about ensuring that these fields are always good, that they're always the same? You're talking about huge financial investments in the players. You want to keep them healthy. You don't want them to get injured by anything other than the contact they experience on the football field, and we know that's inevitable, but you don't want them to be injured by where they're playing, where they're running, how they're setting their feet. And you've been part of this at Veterans Stadium. You've seen what it's like. Hasn't the time come for the NFL to say we want these fields to be as good as they can be in every NFL stadium?
Listen, the field when we played there, it had rained, and so there was a weather issue. In the years past, that field's been fine. I don't know what happened the other day. I actually didn't have a chance to see the game because I was doing this here, and but you're going to have to make that decision on that. The one thing that I think people need to know is that those grounds crew people spend so much time and effort trying to make it right.
Well, we know you're going to be spending a lot of time and effort trying to make things right in Kansas City. It's a new day for the Chiefs, a new day for you, and we wish you all the best. Congratulations on your success. Best wishes moving forward. We hope to talk to you again soon.
Listen, Mike, it's my pleasure, man. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Coach. That's Andy Reid, coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. I have to stop myself every time and say Kansas City Chiefs. 14 years of saying Philadelphia Eagles. This is no different than saying Peyton Manning's the quarterback of the Broncos, Brett Favre with anybody other than the Packers. This is a significant change after a long period of time, and it's instant. Less than a week. It was, 4 days after one door closes, the next one opens, and Andy Reid's now the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, and try to get a little information out. I'm sure they'll be introducing staff members soon, including trainer Rick Burkholder, by the way, who seemed to suggest on Twitter today that he's headed to Kansas City to reunite with Coach Reid. But there'll be more of that to come. After the break, more to come. PFT Live. Sean King stops by. He's actually in studio. I don't know if we have a shot of him in studio now. We got that double box thing, but we'll have him back after the break We'll talk Sean King. We'll talk playoffs. We'll talk RG3. We'll maybe talk a little bit about the New York Jets. We'll talk about whatever comes up with Sean King. We'll do that after this. This is PFT Live.